All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Sweet Tea with Don B. But I'm drinking a little bit of Mellow Yellow today. So, uh, in line to pick the kiddo up, and I figured I'd bring you a video about Sebastian Rogers and where we are at today and moving forward. So, where we are at today, I know, here's what I want to tell everybody. And um, I have a listen, guys. I've gotten a real change. I slept on it last night, and when it comes to Seth Rogers, and I figured out what it is. I figured out what. Remember, I told you guys there's something about Seth that bothered me, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I figured it out last night. Sometimes you gotta sleep on it, and sometimes we don't get it right all the time. Uh, so yeah, I guess I owe Seth an apology. Um, and here's why. Seth has made some statements throughout the investigation, which really kind of irked me. He'd been, in my opinion, he's been kind of loose lipped as far as um, information with the police and stuff like that. And he's made a statement about um, I forget what interview it was on, but he said that he has a feeling he knows where Seth is, or where Sebastian is. He just don't have the resources to go check it out or to go look, something like that. And that kind of struck me weird. I'm like, it's I kept thinking to myself, maybe he should have kept that to himself, between him and law enforcement, because I'm sure if he had that idea of where Seth could, or where I keep saying Seth, of where Sebastian could be, I'm sure Seth told law enforcement, and I really, I think that should be kept between him and law enforcement. That shouldn't have been made public, that statement. Because people will, um, including me, I was just like, God, I can't believe it. Did he really just say that? He knows where Sebastian could be, but don't have the resources to go get him. And what's going on here? Um, and then, just some stuff here and there. But bottom line is, guys, here's how I want you to take Seth. Okay, I slept on it last night, and here's how I want you to take Seth. Seth, in my opinion, is not a very like a social butterfly. He's not tech savvy. He's not good at speaking. Um, he's just your ordinary, average uh, dude that just keeps to himself, does his own thing. Maybe watches a lot of TV. But Seth is not a great speaker. Bottom line is, Seth is not a great speaker. He probably says what's on his mind, and not being a great speaker, and just saying basically what's on your mind. It can it can get some people thinking and going, wow, did he just say that? Which has happened. So, um, do I think Seth Rogers is involved in Sebastian's disappearance? No, I do not. Um, it's just, I really wished, um, from the get go, and this is with Seth, Katie, and Chris. Okay, um, but people do their own thing. I really wished they would have someone that's good. I'll just say good at speaking. I wish they'd have someone that's good at speaking, talk for them, um, on these podcasts and interviews, or maybe have them just with you. You know what I mean? That way, if something, like if you feel like you're going to say something that people can twist and, um, run wild with, maybe the other person can say it better than you. You know what I mean? So that's what I think's going on with Seth. Seth is just not a good speaker. He just says what comes to his mind, and it just comes out. And the combination of the two, and it getting put on YouTube with everybody dissecting everything the way they do, it's just not a good thing for Seth. You know what I mean? And I fell into that trap. So, but sleeping on it last night, um, thinking about Seth, his personality, everything he's going through. Um, I do think Seth needs to be surrounded by people with his best interest in mind. And again, his best interest in mind. Not Chris and Katie's, not anybody else's, but his best interest in mind. Whether it be his mother, his sister, his grandmother, whatever. I think that Seth needs to be surrounded by people that have his best interest in mind. Now, that being said, as far as the investigation goes, Sebastian went missing under Katie's watch. And going forward, I'm going to break this down like an investigative person should, So, without further ado, here we go. Sebastian goes missing under Katie's watch. No sign to force entry anywhere in the house. So what do? Apparently the dogs didn't get a hit or any scent or anything like that outside the house on Sebastian. So, as an investigator, I would want to look, if I was an investigator, I'd want to look inside the house for any signs of something that may have took place, Is there anything missing that would lead me to believe Sebastian, ran away? Did he leave the door unlocked behind him? Because, a lot of times if someone runs away, they're not going to take time to lock the door behind them. You know what I mean? Was the door locked? Anything missing out of his bedroom, like flashlights, anything like that, which I don't think there was. I think everything in his room basically was accounted for, which is, a red flag. No forced entry is a red flag. The mother being in the house that evening, anything's possible, guys. Anything's possible. But what I would be looking at also as an investigator is Katie's car. Okay, what she said, she went out searching for him. Okay, let me pull the data on your car and see if you went anywhere before that. I'm curious as to what the data on Katie's car showed before she went looking for Sebastian. And also, I'd be looking, I'm interested in seeing what the data shows on her car when she went searching for Sebastian. Okay. Now, and you got the company vehicle too. I think both vehicles, the company vehicle and her vehicle, more than likely do have GPS. So I would be interested in that data. Now, considering pretty much how easy that data is to retrieve, I would say that police already have retrieved that data, analyzed it, and if Katie did go somewhere before Sebastian went missing in the car, suspiciously, or when she went searching for Sebastian, I'm sure they would have found that out already. Like if she spent 20 minutes somewhere where she could have, got rid of Sebastian, supposedly. I'm sure they would have already discovered that in the vehicle data. They would have went and done a specific search in that area. And I mean a real good specific search with, buckets and, sifting stuff, uh, things like that. So, in my opinion, because we've not seen that, I don't think they have retrieved anything useful off Katie's vehicle or her company vehicle. And even, the cell phones and stuff like that. So the other thing, if if there's nothing on any vehicles that police can pull, I mean, what do you do at that point? Now you got Chris. All right, so Chris's truck has got GPS. It's new enough to have GPS. He's got a cell phone. So as an investigator, I'm sitting here thinking, if I was an investigator, I'd be all right. Let's pull the data on his truck. Let's pull the data on his phone. And again, if he got off the phone with Katie at 3 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the morning, let's say if he got off the phone with Katie at 1 o'clock in the morning, just because his phone is in Memphis doesn't mean that he could be in Memphis. Okay? That just means your phone is in Memphis. I mean, Chris could have put his phone on the nightstand in his camper or whatever, if he's staying in a hotel, he could have left it on the hotel dresser and went somewhere and used a prepaid flip phone or cheap $25 sometimes they're free. Sometimes you get a straight talk phone for free and all you have to do is pay for the minutes. And I've gotten some of these cheap straight talk phones for like $9, and then you pay like $25 for the minutes and stuff to use on it. And then you can just take it and throw it in the river or whatever. I'm not saying that's what he done, but I'm just saying, as an investigator, I'd be looking, okay, let me, if Chris's phone was at home during those, I'd be interested in Chris's cell phone data and the activity on it. Be interested in the data in his vehicle, and again, did he have access to another vehicle that maybe didn't have GPS data? Like in the Summerwells case, Grandis's truck didn't. It was old enough not to have GPS data in it. So they were unable to track the vehicle's movement through data. Now, Candace and Grandis had cell phones. That's how they could, track them that way. Pinging off the towers, going and coming from, Warriors to wherever they went to. So, yeah, it's up in the air. I would be, looking at a lot of this data, which, that being said, they've had plenty of time to pull all this data, analyze it, and look at it, and come up with suspicious places maybe that they could have went to. Now again, there's also, like I said, there's the possibility of using a vehicle that didn't have GPS. There's the possibility of using straight talk phones. The $20 straight talk phones, and tossing them somewhere. That's all a possibility, and if that's the case, it just makes it a lot harder. You know what I mean? So, if Sebastian's disappearance was planned, that's probably what investigators are running into. The problem they're running into is, okay, now, are we looking at, burner phones being used to cover up the planning of this, the execution of it? I don't think that, I do believe, if this was planned, and I'm not saying Chris and Katie done anything. I'm just saying if they did, because right now there's no, there's no evidence that they did anything according to police, not yet anyway. I know Sebastian and his family it ain't sitting too well with them, and it ain't sitting too well with the general public. And yeah, I do think that there's more information that we need the night Sebastian went missing, and who holds that information. It's possibly Katie. There's a strong possibility it could be Katie. Again, reading people, Katie seemed really withdrawn and like, watching some of these other people. Well, I don't want to say that because, someone could really be missing their kid too and be acting that way. But again, when you look at the investigation as a whole, the police are looking at, how did Sebastian disappear from the safety of his own house in the middle of the night with his mom there? You know what I mean? How does that happen? And no signs of forced entry, right? No signs of forced entry. So did somebody lure Sebastian out of the house? I mean, if that was the case, I would just assume that maybe Sebastian wouldn't lock the door behind him. And as far as I know, everything was locked up according to Katie. You know what I mean? So it just don't make sense. So reviewing this on an investigative level, I'm right there with police. I feel like they've had enough time to analyze all the data, gather evidence. Now, here's one thing I would love to have seen, and I don't think we've seen this yet. And maybe they did go in. Maybe they went in with luminol. As an investigator, also, I would be looking in Sebastian's room, maybe the entire house, for traces of blood. Anything like that. But again, just because there's no blood in the house doesn't mean something didn't happen in the house. You know what I mean? Chris Watts, he took Shanann out in the bedroom. There was no traces of blood or nothing. He took Shanann out right there in their bedroom. I think he suffocated her, choked her. No traces of blood or nothing. So just because there's no blood doesn't mean something didn't happen. So I'm going to keep looking at this on an investigative, like I should have been to begin with. I just got sidetracked with all the hoopla and the distraction going on. And like I said, I think Seth he's a dude with few words, and what does come out may not sit well with people because he is a man of few words, and it would be easy to take him the wrong way. That's what I think. So yeah, I think people need to give Seth the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, he's a man of few words, and what words he does say, he's emotional. It comes from the heart, and it can be taken the wrong way. So I would just urge everybody to give Seth the benefit of the doubt, and we really need to focus on the house that Sebastian was in that evening and the people that could have had access to Sebastian that evening. That's what we need to focus on. And I'm going to look into that a little more, and I'll be back tomorrow with a video on that. So anyway, guys, hope you liked this episode. If you did, drop some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm back on the right track. Just a little brain fart. I mean, just got caught up in the what the hell's going on moment. You know what I mean? and I guess let it get to me. So anyway, guys, I feel like I'm back on track. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next video.